afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Taheshah Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon.
Yes, this is an interactive newscast where we like to talk with you during the commercial break. So to join the conversation, head over to the WFMY News 2 Facebook page or on YouTube and use that hashtag 4 to 5. More than 50 Alamance County leaders say they want a Confederate monument in Graham moved. The announcement came in a press conference this morning led by Burlington Mayor Ian Baltudis, calling on Alamance County commissioners and the Graham City Council to relocate the statue respectfully to a place where it can be given historical context.
While this artifact undeniably is part of our history, to many in our community, it represents an ideology incompatible with equality.
Alamance County commissioners say they don't have the legal authority to move the monument, and they were left out of the drafting of that call to action. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland will take a closer look at that statement in this morning's press conference coming up at 5 and 6.
Let's turn now to your 4 to 5 roundup. The 4 former Minneapolis police officers charged in the death of George Floyd are set to make their second court appearance today. Derek Chauvin, whose charges include unintentional second-degree murder, is expected to appear virtually. The 3 other former officers are expected to appear in person. Since Floyd's death, there have been calls around the country for police reform. On Friday, the Minneapolis City Council unanimously voted to advance a proposal that could replace the police department there. After a long fight, the Mississippi state flag is coming down. The state legislature voted on Sunday to replace the state flag. Many lawmakers say this is a step in the right direction. The bill will now go to Governor Tate Reeves, who is expected to sign it into law. The current flag will then come down within 15 days from the day the governor signs the bill. Mississippians would vote on a replacement flag in the November election. More companies are pulling ads from Facebook and other social media in a widespread push to stop racist and violent content. Over the weekend, Starbucks announced it is joining companies like Ben & Jerry's and Coca-Cola in supporting the Stop Hate for Profit campaign. On Friday, Facebook reversed its previous position and said it will start labeling posts from politicians that violate its policy, but won't remove the posts because they are, quote, newsworthy. And downtown Greensboro is looking a bit more colorful this afternoon. The city's second street mural is complete. 16 artists came together to paint Black Lives Matter on Elm Street. Each letter is unique. The mural stretches from February 1 Place to Washington Street, and it joins Black Lives Matter street murals that have popped up across the country.
So a drug manufacturer that's working on a coronavirus treatment says that they will have to charge thousands for this treatment per individual. It's a lot of money here. Gilead Sciences said that remdesivir could cost patients over $3,000 if they have private insurance. Now, remdesivir is advertised as a drug that shortens the recovery time for anybody that has a severe case of coronavirus. The amount that patients pay out of pocket would depend on their insurance. The company donated drug supplies to the U.S. and other countries, but those donations are set to run out in about a week. That company will then start charging for the drug. The U.S. federal health officials said that they've ordered 500,000 additional doses. Gilead Sciences will start producing supply in July to distribute to hospitals through September. Now, if you're still in need to get tested, Guilford County health officials are partnering with North Carolina A&T. They're offering some free testing. This will take place tomorrow and Wednesday. It runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Corbett Sports Center on A&T's campus. If you need to schedule an appointment before you go, and you do, just call the health department.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest is commenting on his lawsuit against Governor Roy Cooper for his handling of the coronavirus. Forest says Governor Cooper failed to follow state law by issuing mandatory shutdown orders without approval from the Council of State. Well, Governor Cooper's office said a governor has other powers under state law, giving him the right to implement executive orders without the council's approval. Force added he disagrees with possible plans for students and staff to return to school buildings for the upcoming year.
There has not been one serious outbreak of coronavirus anywhere in the world in a school. Not one serious outbreak.
Lieutenant Governor Forest says students should be allowed back in school as normal like other countries.
So what does going back to school look like? We should learn more this week. Governor Cooper is expected to announce what plans state schools will follow this fall. I spoke to teachers in Forsyth County about how they're getting ready no matter what.
I think all teachers are concerned about what's the safest thing for staff and students to go back into the buildings.
Val Young, president of the Forsyth County Association of Educators, is keeping her eye on the calendar. August 17th, the first day of school in North Carolina, is fast approaching.
So I think at this point, teachers are planning for remote, planning for going back to school, planning for if they go 50-50 kind of thing. They've made their own plan for all these things.
Right now, there are three options. Plan A, students go back with some changes like social distancing. Plan B, schools operate at half capacity. And Plan C, kids continue remote learning at home. Teacher Kara Richardson sees challenges in all three.
Realistically, I would hope for the part-time, seeing them in person and then helping them virtually. I think that would be the best combination if we can't be there to see them every day.
Leaders with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools planned for every scenario, from cutting down on the number of students allowed on each bus to health checks when they arrive, even alternating weeks kids come to school. Still, pre-K teacher Sine Williams says there are some things you just can't plan for.
Well, we got them in school every other week, but how do we keep that consistency when they're home? What are we going to do to fill in that gap?
Questions remain.
If they do come to school sick, what do we do?
Who's going to keep these children if the parents have to go to work? Who's going to do the education piece?
I'm wondering if there will be any changes between now and the actual start date, simply because it's a month and a half.
No one knows what learning will look like in the fall, but all three teachers agree it will look different. Well, you can see all of Winston-Salem Forsyth County's plans on their website, and the district is sharing those plans with the Board of Education tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I also reached out to Guilford County Schools. A spokesperson tells me they've been meeting for several weeks now and have plans in place no matter what we hear from the governor on Wednesday. Taheshah, really just a big question mark on what schools will do and what it will look like. So hopefully we'll get some answers this week.
And I can imagine that no matter what the answer is for parents, there is some readjustments that are going to have to be made. And I just feel for the kids because I know they've been through a lot in the last semester here and then into the summer, and still no idea quite yet what the fall will look like.
Right, and the teachers I spoke to today who you met in that piece were saying, you know, it's not just about teaching, it's about being there for kids and supporting them and seeing them face to face and meeting with them and their classmates. And that's a huge chunk of their job that they missed out starting in March when we went to remote learning. And if it continues that way in the fall, they're worried about how much they'll actually learn this school year.
Yeah, I got to keep a close eye on those kids for sure. Well, a new North Carolina law gives school employees a one-time bonus. Teachers were supposed to get a raise under the new state budget, but that raise has not happened yet. So this one-time bonus will be $350.
Well, there is no denying it. Coronavirus has changed a lot in our lives, but what has it impacted the most in yours? I asked you on Facebook. Let's take a look at what you had to say. Eric Ayre said, I'm much more cautious about going out and interacting with people. I tend to stay home more. Giovanna Westmoreland Bowman said, being able to have family gatherings, working with the public, I've had to distance myself from my grandsons for safety reasons. Holidays seem to come and go without having celebrations. And Tina Armenta said, I think the better question is, what hasn't this virus changed? It has completely changed our everyday normalcies and turned life as we know it upside down, some for the good and some not so good. She goes on to say, but if there's one thing, one lesson we can all take home from this, I hope we finally realize how precious togetherness truly is, because as we've seen these past months, in a blink of an eye, it can be gone. She certainly hit the nail right on the head for me.
Yeah, Tina just wrote a my 2 cents there, talking about the importance of being together and not taking things for granted. For me, I just stay home. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with her. I think she's right. Everything was affected by this. I just hope, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't know if we'll ever go back to normal. I hope that is not true. I hope we get a vaccine and we can get things back to normal. I miss it, the togetherness, you know, of a friendship and family. It's just, it's not the same.
I think we will go back to things similar to what they were before, but the normal that we'll see after this virus is different than what we knew before. I think from here on out, we will be living life pre-COVID and post-COVID, and what that looks like is still a question mark. We talked about that a lot in this show so far, but we'd love to hear from you. Chat it up on our Facebook page. Use our hashtag 4to5 to stay connected, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. In Rockingham County, commissioners honored a World War II veteran on his birthday. Staff Sergeant Riley R. Rankin turned 100 years old today, and in honor of his birthday, commissioners signed a resolution making today Rankin Day. Happy birthday to him, 100 years old, Taheshah.
Yeah, he's part of this club called the Centenarian Club. So a big happy birthday to him.
And looking great in his hat and his mask in Rockingham County. A big congratulations. Hope that we can live to see 100 ourselves.
Yeah, that would be nice. And I would love to speak with him too, just to kind of get his ear on society today versus society 100 years ago, for the better, for the worse. I think he would have the most interesting stories to tell.
I think you just found yourself a news story, a feature. Hey, it's a good day to celebrate a birthday. The skies are beautiful out there. Christian, what's going on?
I'll tell you what, guys, it is a hot and humid day, very typical of late June for us here in North Carolina. Temperatures are in the mid and upper 80s across the area. We still haven't hit 90 yet this year. We have made it to 89 today, though, so we are watching the temperature map very closely as we go through the rest of the evening hours. And it's just very sticky, upper 60s for dew points, and it's really hard to get rid of that humidity this time of the year as well. So that heat and that humidity is going to stick around for several days to come. For the most part, we are dry on the radar. There are some showers and even some storms to our northwest, mainly in the mountains, and that's where they're going to stay as we go throughout the remainder of your evening. Tomorrow, though, is a little different story. Overnight, temperatures not going to get all that cool. We'll drop down into the upper 60s and lower 70s across the area, and it still will be a muggy evening of weather. For your Tuesday, much like today, hot and humid, back in the upper 80s again, but we do have a better chance to get some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Doesn't look like any of those would be severe. They could be a little on the strong side, and some of those could have some gusty or maybe an isolated damaging wind as well. 7-day forecast, it's just hot and humid. Pretty mundane for summer weather, and your first look at the 4th of July looks hot. Upper 80s to near 90 degrees. We'll have a low-end chance of an afternoon shower and thunderstorm. And that really is the story of the next 7 days. Just very typical late June and early July summer weather. Your 4 to 5 will be right back.
We see stories every day about people that we call heroes. Now, the ones who are on the front lines we're talking about in this war against the pandemic that we're fighting right now. Well, One Triad Brewery, believe it or not, is doing what they can to make sure that we don't forget the essentials out there. Here's my chat with Joe McCloskey at Four Saints Brewing in Asheboro.
Joel, this is pretty cool. You guys are kind of honoring people through your beer. Explain how this works.
We have two beers that we were going to put out, a pale ale and a cherry goza, which is a German tart wheat, so a sour beer. And we were trying to think of names for these beers, and realized that we're coming toward, the beers are going to be coming out toward the end of school year. And being that 3 out of 4 of our owners are or were teachers, we have a lot of teacher friends and a lot of teachers that come through and visit our tap room. We wanted to tell them thank you for the heck of a year that they've had learning how to do virtual classes and do all this stuff because of COVID. And so we decided to name one of the beers Appreciated, which is this can right here, the Cherry Goza. Images are created by Rich Powell, and he likened them after some saintly pictures. And then we realized we also needed to say thank you to our essential workers, throughout COVID and the lockdowns and everything. Our postal workers, our lawyers, our judges, our plumbers, first responders, none of them, every single one of them continue to work. And so we wanted to say thank you to them as well. So we have the Essential Pale Ale and the Appreciated Cherry Goza, just to say thanks to people who are doing their jobs.
I would think you're getting a pretty good response from the public. Are people responding to this in a good way?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's the answer. Teachers, they love the idea that we're honoring them. Most teachers they go out and do what they do because they love what they do and they want to make an impact in a kid's life. And so, being told thank you for just doing your job, they've been all over it. And we've had plenty of first responders and postal workers and like all the people we've mentioned with Essential that have come in, or people that have come in and said, my husband is, or my wife is, and I have picked them up a 4-pack to give to them to say thanks.
Well, it's a great thing you're doing, Joel. I appreciate your time. Keep it going. This is good stuff. The community needs this.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. That's what we're here for. Great beer for great people.
So I asked you on Facebook, who do you think are the true heroes of this war against COVID-19? Here's what you had to say. MD Moore had a lot to say, by the way. He says there are many. Number one, the researchers looking for a vaccine. Number two, the healthcare workers treating patients, putting themselves in harm's way, as well as first responders and law enforcement. Candace Lee Phillips said simply, all essential employees are the heroes. And MD Moore continued his list there. Number three, the everyday worker, talking about grocery stores and pharmacies and other essential retailers. If not for them, he said, we would starve. And he said every person that supports and maintains social distancing or wears a mask. Very important there. I think there are so many heroes, on different levels of our lives right now that it's almost impossible to list them all in one Facebook post.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I love that a local brewery is honoring them right now, Eric, and just reminding them that even a few months into this, we still have their backs and we're still supporting them.
Yeah, it's very cool. I think it's a great way for them to do it, and it's just a small reminder, but when you look at that label, it kind of makes you think a little bit, and that's what we should be doing right now.
Yes, thinking and joining the conversation. We want to hear from you in the live stream comments here. Who are you considering a hero here in this fight against COVID-19? It can be an everyday hero. It could be a hero in healthcare. Let us know and write the name down, and we can say thank you to them in the break. We'll be right back.
Well, Cam Newton will be playing on new turf officially now. New England Patriots signed Cam to replace former quarterback Tom Brady. This according to all kinds of different sports outlets out there. It's a one-year contract. Could be worth more than $7 million, about $7.5, they say maximum. Panthers did release March. You remember that after 9 seasons with the team. Now, Newton's release from the team saved that team over $19 million under the NFL salary cap. Newton has yet to comment on word that he's signing with the Patriots, and the Patriots have not released the statement just yet, but it's all over every sports media outlet, so we know that this is going to happen. A lot of the NFL players, Maddie, are saying that this deal is horrible, that Cam's worth more. But, you take into account that he's been injured so much that does drop your value a little bit, and he has to prove himself again to a degree. But he's posting on social media, not necessarily saying exactly that's happening, but he's posting saying some good things are happening. I'm very happy with the direction, so we'll see.
Yeah, all summer long, I've been seeing posts from Cam Newton on Instagram about training, exercising, working hard, no ill will against Cam. Of course, we wish him the best of luck, even though it hurts that he won't be playing at Bank of America Stadium this season, if they play at all, right?
Yep. I tell you what, he's got an incredible offensive line with the Patriots, so that's a lot to work with for Cam.
All right, well, let us know your thoughts about this on our Facebook page. In the meantime, we're going to check in with our very own Christian Morgan.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it is hot and it is humid, a very summer-like day across the area. You can see just those very summer-like cumulus clouds across the sky, but that haziness has started to dissipate. That's our dust moving away from us. Temperature-wise, we're in the upper 80s across the area this afternoon. We've been at 89 for a little while. We still haven't hit 90, but we'll keep our eyes on the temperature map as we go through the evening hours. We're dry across the area. Some storms up to our northwest, mainly in the mountains, and that's where they'll stay for the remainder of the evening. High pressure to our south continues to push in warmer air and much more humid air, combined with a little cold front, a backdoor cold front from Virginia that's crossing our area today. It will stall out right along the North Carolina-South Carolina border, and that will give us a chance for some thunderstorms, a better chance as we head into your Tuesday afternoon. That really is the best chance for storms this week, and then our storm chances go down as we head through the middle of the week. But it's a very typical hot, humid, and afternoon storm type summer forecast.
Hey guys, giving you a mic check, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. Am I right now or later? Okay, great.
Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Taheshah Moyes with Maddie Gardner, Eric Chilton, and Christian Morgan.
Yes, this is an interactive news show. We like to call it a two-way street here. Usually, we just talk at you, but we really do want to hear back from you. So join our conversation right now. We are live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Just use our hashtag 4 to 5. Let's begin here with your 4 to 5 roundup. Test pilots from Boeing and the FAA are expected to begin certification test flights for 737 MAX planes. That campaign is expected to last 3 days. All 737 MAXs were grounded in March of 2019 after 2 deadly crashes. Apart from these test flights, the FAA also needs to approve new pilot training procedures. Completing that and a few other steps should push the full ungrounding of the 737 MAX fleet to September. And American Airlines announced it's getting back to business as usual. Starting this week, they'll start booking full flights again. American says it will continue to notify customers and allow them to move to more open flights when available for no charge. The airline currently has travel waivers allowing customers to rebook without a change fee. That's for any travel through September 30th of this year. About 200 Florida-based doctors signed an open letter to the mayor of Jacksonville calling for the Republican National Convention in August to be postponed. The letter notes that more than 40,000 people are expected to attend the RNC. It calls the decision to host, quote, predictably harmful and medically disrespectful. The doctors warn there will be an increase in COVID-19 related hospitalizations, long-term health problems, and deaths as a result of the convention. And the Greensboro Public Library is starting grab-and-go service at 4 of its branches. You'll be able to go inside, make a quick selection of materials, check out, and leave the building. There won't be any seating or public computer use during this phase of the reopening process. Online programming will continue, but there won't be any in-hour events. Curbside service will also continue for customers who wish to use that. You are asked to call ahead to make an appointment.
Cosmetic company L'Oreal says it will remove certain words from its products. Words like whitening or lightening will no longer be included in names of products. The move comes as protesters across the nation continue battling racial injustice. Earlier this month, L'Oreal tweeted that the company stands with the Black community. Now, that tweet was criticized by activists who claim the company's business model focuses on white consumers.
In Texas, real estate agency, one of them at least, is getting rid of the term master in master bedroom. Master bedroom will now become primary bedroom. The agency says the MLS adversary group reviews terminology frequently to make sure the model fits the current environment. Now, realtors will not face fines for continuing to use the term master bedroom or bath, and the change only applies to one agency.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on this change, so I asked you all on my Facebook page to chime in. Let's get into some of the comments. Pam Pettis says, I am a realtor. We may stop using it, but the public will not. Ashley Baldwin says, I think that it's foolish. That has nothing to do with the bigger problems going on in the world. That will not help bring unity to our neighborhoods. Ruth and Albert Johnson says, my thought is that these things are distractions and taking away from what the protests were about in the first place. I have never thought of the master bedroom as anything but the main bedroom. And Gloria writes, when I purchased my home right here in Greensboro, the realtor always said primary room instead of master. Makes no difference to me as long as I have a room to sleep in. There was another comment someone wrote on my Facebook page. It was way too long to include in this conversation. I do encourage you to go check out my page. His name's Maury Kennedy. But he says, in more words or less, it's taking away from the message of what the protests are all about, and changing one word, in his opinion, may not do much.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. My personal opinion is that we're getting into minutia, and in some ways, I agree with some of them that said that distracts away from the bigger issue that we're trying to resolve. We got to focus on the prize, and all these little things to me aren't helping. In fact, it's distracting, in my opinion.
And I think it says something about the companies who make these changes and don't publicize it versus the ones who come out with press releases and statements that say, look what we're doing, patting themselves on the back. I mean, I think there is room for change in areas of society, but maybe they don't need to announce each and every one, especially these smaller ones, because they're just doing it for good PR. I don't know about this one. I think there are some changes that have been made that have been good and positive and influential here, but this one just seems a little bit too small for me.
Yeah, it feels like we're just getting into the weeds with this one. I don't think that's going to further any conversation in a positive and meaningful way. It's just we're talking about it, right, but nothing is changing in anyone's mind at this point. As federal and state health officials try to focus on hotspots for coronavirus, densely populated cities like New York and Miami have been main focuses.
Right, but small towns have been hit just as hard as those well-known spots. CBS News' Tony DeCopel takes us inside a Pennsylvania town where coronavirus deaths are hitting home for everyone.
Along Main Street, USA, stores are cautiously reopening, and some people are venturing out. But life is just not the same.
On a normal day in June, would you be able to sit here at lunchtime?
Absolutely
and
not.
Just chat?
No.
Nicole DeFore opened Quench Cafe in 2009 after the New York investment firm she worked for, Lehman Brothers, collapsed in the mortgage meltdown. She moved in with family here in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, population 5,500. And while the setting may be different, the feeling of financial loss is familiar, with revenue down 90%.
So how do you pay rent?
Just by not paying myself.
Really? So you pay for the building rather than pay your own salary?
Yeah.
Just down the block, Andrea Schneider lost thousands of dollars and laid off her staff at Jade Hair Salon.
25 years you've been in business?
Yes.
Have you ever closed prior to this?
No. No.
Not when you had cancer?
Nope. 2 times.
Not when you had cancer the second time?
No. Never.
When we stopped by, she was preparing for business to start up again. But her biggest loss from this pandemic is the kind she'll never recover.
We did everything we could. My mother was surrounded by the most wonderful nurses and aides, and they brought her to the window when we went there to see her and try. You know, it's the hardest thing. It's the distance. It's not being able to be with your loved ones, not being able to hug and kiss and tell them that you love them.
After all she's been through, Schneider says she's amazed by the support she's getting here.
If we can just hold it together, you know, we just have to hold it together.
James Fallows spent years visiting places other people drive past or fly over, and along with his wife, wrote a book on the topic. He says no other city has been impacted more by the virus than America's largest, New York, until now.
The longer-term concern about what it will take to rebuild, to re-attract residents, to restore small businesses, to regain a sense of momentum, that concern is more widespread in smaller towns, and they think they have a longer road ahead of them.
And what, if anything, about the qualities in small towns makes you hopeful they will survive?
A town that has already been around for 100 years or more has already been through a lot. People there know how to reinvent themselves. Their challenge will be to reinvent themselves yet again.
Yet reinvention could be tough for people like record store owner Tom Lefevre.
How long has it been since someone walked in the door like I just did?
A couple months.
Have you ever had anything like that before, like any kind of stretch where you just couldn't do business?
I have, actually. 12, 13 years ago, I was across the street. That was where my business was, and there was a fire, and I lost my whole business.
Wow.
But I was down for probably a couple months until I got insurance money, and then I landed in here.
But insurance covers a fire. Does it cover this?
Does not cover this.
How did you feel when you found that out?
It was a big shock, to be honest with you. I was kind of angry, too.
The anger and sorrow along this main street isn't much different than anywhere else. But if you're going to go through a bad time, Nicole DeFore says, this is a good place to do it.
People are just asking, how am I doing?
because they want to make sure we stay around and we stay, you know, relevant and we get through this. And like, I can feel that. I can feel that they really care when they ask me how we're doing. Like, how do you put a price on that? That's amazing.
Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
2 Wants to Know is getting questions about masks or the lack of them when you're at work and when you're out shopping. So tonight at 6, we're tackling the what if your workplace doesn't abide by the mask mandate and you're worried about it. Right now, though, let's talk shopping.
Businesses can say you can't come in unless you're wearing a mask, but they can offer accommodations. And those could include curbside pickup, delivery, or allowing somebody to come in with a mask. Somebody comes in with a mask and refuses to comply and they don't meet any of these exceptions, then the business can actually ask the police to enforce a trespassing statute.
Okay, it is a really thin line. Are you one of the exceptions and not needing to wear a mask? If not, you could be in some trouble.
And Tanya, those exceptions, they include kids under the age of 11. Maybe you have a medical or a behavioral condition, but it's not like you have a card that you're carrying around saying like, I have an exception to the mask rule.
Right, and that is a great point. And according to attorney Nicole Patino, a business can't ask for any kind of proof about why you're an exception. In fact, they could get in trouble for asking that question. We're going to talk a little bit more about that at 6. Hey, don't miss this coming up. Cone Health is in today at 5:30 to answer your questions. We want you to text your questions 336-379-5775. You can ask anything you want about masks, how to wear them, how to clean them, or just anything coronavirus related. We got questions, we got answers. Remember, this is a text only.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's take a look outside. It's been a mostly dry day across the area. Hot and humid, yes, but the only shower and storm action that we have is up to our northwest and along the mountains. That's really where it's going to stay as we go through the rest of your evening. It's a partly cloudy night, and tomorrow we'll start with partly cloudy skies, but we do have a better chance, especially through the afternoon and evening hours, to get some scattered storms. Now, some of those could get a little on the strong side with an isolated damaging wind concern, but the main threat for severe weather is going to stay south of the triad. Temperature-wise, we're in the upper 80s across the area this afternoon. Watching closely, we've hit 89, just haven't quite got to 90 yet. We'll watch, and if we do, it will be our first 90-degree day of the year so far. As we head through the evening hours and into the overnight, temperatures will drop down into the lower 70s, but it's still going to be muggy. Your Tuesday, much like today, upper 80s, hot and humid, but we are watching the afternoon for some of those scattered showers and storms. High pressure continues to push in warm air and much more humid air out of the south as well. That will give us a chance for thunderstorms as we go through the next several days. But it's a very end of June, early July, summer-like forecast for North Carolina. Hot, humid, and afternoon storms each day.
The conversations about race relations happening in America today are often being expressed with art. WFMY News 2's Andrea Schneider found one artist who helped with Greensboro's new Black Lives Matter mural and hopes to help kids relate.
As some businesses in downtown Greensboro start to remove board murals from their windows, one artist is putting up a message of his own, using cartoon characters to connect kids with a conversation about social justice.
Boondocks is a very popular show that I like watching, everybody can relate to.
Meet 29-year-old Kenneth Amari Brown of Greensboro. He's converting his love for cartoons to conversation pieces for kids.
I have it to where it's like pop art, where everybody can see it and where it is showing that we can all come together and it's peaceful. And kids can relate because they've seen cartoons.
Brown's mural is just one of several pieces of protest art now adorning downtown Greensboro after protests that followed George Floyd's death.
Everybody loves X-Men, so this is Storm. And this is the Black Panther, and I thought to include these two to see what they do if they're in a superhero, like in a movie, like in a cartoon, like how would they protest.
He painted the letter M on the Black Lives Matter street surface mural in downtown.
You know, the graphic novels have become such a thing now too. Cartoons and comic books and all that have historically reflected kind of periods in history, and I think it's really cool that that's happening now too, and that this artist is a part of that.
I'm so proud that he's a part of this movement, you know, and I think this time something's gonna come from this time.
And Brown, who is currently a server, says he hopes to go into painting full time and open up his own gallery so that he can continue spreading his thought-provoking messages through his cartoon art.
And for sure, cartoons are one way to start a conversation, and I would encourage you, if you haven't been to downtown Greensboro and seen the art for yourself, it really is worth the visit. And there are a lot of conversations that I see people having as I walk downtown on Elm Street that before I didn't see that many people doing.
I mean, they do say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and then it can spark conversations that are worth a lot more words, Taheshah. And many of our Greensboro artists are extremely talented. The mural artist who painted George Floyd in downtown Greensboro, that piece is going to the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so now that's even another reason to go downtown and see it before it goes into that museum, because that museum is very hard to get into. The time passes go like that. They really do.
Interesting. All right, so while it's downtown, check it out. We'll be back with more of the 4 to 5.
Yeah, I can't hear you through my. Okay. All right. I am talking about, popularity is overrated. How teens can get over it when they go to college.
I'll tell you what, it may be hot, but at least it is dry across the area. In fact, most of our shower and storm activity has remained over to our west and in the northwestern mountains. That's really where it's going to stay. As we go through the rest of the evening, will be all quiet and all dry. Temperature-wise, yes, it's a hot day. We've got up to 89 so far today. We're in the upper 80s now. We'll watch to see if we do cross that 90-degree mark for the first time this year. Tonight, it'll still be muggy, 70 for the overnight low. Your Tuesday, much like today, hot and humid in the upper 80s, but we do have a better chance to get some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon. That's really our best chance for the week. As we go over the next few days, our storm chances do go down, but it remains hot, humid, and very summer-like. Your first look at the 4th of July is also hot and humid with afternoon storms.
Colleges are deciding whether to open campuses in the fall. And if those campuses do open up, that means that there will be many students who will be leaving friends and making new ones. And as we know, making new friends isn't always easy and can take some time. But what if your student finds that the popularity they had in high school doesn't necessarily follow them to college? That's what Blanca Cobb and myself will be talking about today. Blanca, what's the drive here behind being popular?
When you're popular, you're included. People want to be around you. You receive a lot of invitations. People admire you. They want your opinion. And you don't have to worry about a lonely Friday night because someone will call you and you'll have something to do.
Something to do is always nice, you know, but what are some of the drawbacks of being popular?
There can be some really high expectations for you because people do admire you and want to be around you. And if you can't live up to those expectations, then that can cause some problems. And then if you're dependent on that popularity to feel good about yourself, if those friends move away or you just have a disagreement and you're no longer talking, then that can really plummet your own self-esteem and how you feel about yourself. So there are some drawbacks to wanting to be popular.
And, you know, it's a tough time, this transition from high school to college. And, you know, what can some students do to find ways to cope if they are finding themselves having a harder time making friends?
If you find that you're having a hard time making friends, you just want to be yourself. Like. I say that all the time. And so what I mean by this in this situation is that you show yourself who you are, your interests, your hobbies, and people will find you and you will find like-minded people, and continue to be nice and thoughtful and compassionate and kind, because then you're going to attract the right kind of people. And it can take time, so don't give up hope or want to push that process a little too quickly.
Yeah, and I know for adults that can be hard too. You know, once you do leave college and you leave the immediacy of having friends all around you, it's like you're starting from scratch again.
Absolutely. You don't feel like you have that support anymore. And it's like, wow, I'm by myself. Now what?
Now what? Now what is the question? Be yourself. That's something we can all take to heart. Blanca, thank you so much for joining our conversation here today.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, dozens of Alamance County leaders come together to push for the removal of the Confederate Monument in Graham. We're digging deeper into their proposal to safely remove the statue and the response from Alamance County commissioners. That's next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hello there, this is a mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Commissioners say they feel like this could be politically motivated and feels more like an ambush than an attempt to work together on this monument's future.
Tanya, me? Yep, I just want to make sure. Yeah, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together. Yes, sir.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, one statue in one part of Alamance County. Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, and today 50 people representing several Alamance County cities